It's one of the oldest automotive marques in Italy.
Alfa Romeo predates every other major Italian manufacturer that's around today.
A brand prized by connoisseurs, but all too often forgotten by consumers.
There's an entire generation that has no idea what the hell Alfa Romeo is.
After years of struggle, one of the greatest Italian motoring icons once again tries to find glory.
When we decided to completely restart, the first question was, how?
The answer is a lightweight machine that blurs the line to what a sports car is and what a supercar can be.
We create engine art of the car, only with the hands.
It's a stunningly beautiful, deeply flawed object of desire that every car guy and girl wants to own.
An object of desire built with a unique recipe that has the weight of an entire company, perhaps country, on its shoulders. The Alfa Romeo 4C. Goes 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.1 seconds. Weighs under 1,000 kilograms thanks to a hypercar-style carbon fiber monocoque. And seduces the eye with outrageous Italian flair.
It's an old school kind of car, right? It's small, it's light, it's got all this personality.
The Alfa Romeo 4C, a supercar with a secret.
It's definitely the most affordable supercar. It looks twice as expensive as is.
Starting at just over 50,000 euros, the 4C is perhaps the most accessible modern-day supercar ever built in Italy.
Hey, I'm just as cool as a Ferrari. I'm just as outrageous, but I'm a third of the price.
You can save your money and get a beautiful Italian car made of exotic space-age materials that goes incredibly quickly around your track and turns heads everywhere you go.
Heads spin when a 4C goes by, even in northern Italy, the home of the supercar.
For us, cars are a very special thing. And we have speed in our blood. Speed is our daily bread.
Going fast isn't just a skill, but often a daily activity.
In front of a lights, the lights is red, someone look you, is a race. Because in our blood, there are the race and the Formula One. So anytime you have a car, a scooter, or a bicycle, you have to race.
The epicenter for this need for speed is a 50-kilometer region surrounding Modena, Italy, otherwise known as La Terra dei Motori, or Motor Valley.
If you think Modena, you think the Motor Valley, the motor, Pavarotti. So your heart open to the car, to the music, and to the food.
Modena is home to Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani, Maserati, and now Alfa Romeo. A hand-built, high-performance machine.
It adds value to the car, the fact that it's handmade, in an artisanal way.
Craftspeople in this area aren't just workers, believers too.
Or a guy who, builds Lamborghinis would never build a Ferrari or vice versa. It's like sports teams. You pick one because this is the company you believe in, that speaks to you, and the other ones don't.
I was obsessed from when I was a young boy. Then the ability to come here and choose which company to work for, I chose Alfa Romeo.
Every day, the heartfelt passion is put on display inside of Fiat's Modena facility, where they build both the Maserati Quattroporte and the Alfa Romeo 4C.
I was so happy to come work here. Plants like this, which produce dream cars, and particularly Italian dream cars, are few and far between.
Over 200 craftspeople with at least 5 years of experience work inside these walls. They produce just 3,500 Alfas per year.
Alfa's a lot older than people realize. But this is an old brand. It predates Ferrari. It's been around a long time.
The story starts on the 24th of June 1910, when a group of entrepreneurs buy a defunct Italian car company. They immediately rechristen it the Annomina Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, or Alfa for short.
It was in this Milan area, which today is most famous potentially for the fashion industry.
2 years later, in 1912, the brand was racing.
Alfa was a kind of a born winner. And its race cars have been always driven by heroes.
The outbreak of World War I changes everything. Alfa falls under the control of Alfa Romeo. From this point forward, every machine will now be called an Alfa Romeo. Yet when the war ends, it's a 22-year-old racer pushes the brand forward.
This is where Enzo Ferrari gets beginning. Enzo Ferrari raced for Alfa.
Enzo Ferrari's racing success leads to more wins with other drivers, and after World War II, the success continues.
Alfa Romeo was the winner of the first and second Formula One championship with Farina and Manuel Fangio.
The victories inspire sports cars for the street.
So in Italy, in the 50s and 60s, Alfa Romeo was the car for the affluent sports enthusiasts.
Yet no matter how sporty Alfa gets, they can't seem to stay in the black where it counts.
The car racing victories, they're really romantic, they're really great stories, but the business side never worked out well in their favor.
By the early 80s, Alfa Romeo looks destined to fail.
The company was once again bankrupt, unfortunately.
In 1986, the Italian government sells the brand to Fiat for over 5 billion euros. Sadly, success doesn't follow.
They were launching beautiful cars, but cars which to a certain extent neglected the DNA of brand, which were coming from a totally different angle towards cars.
In the late 2000s, the brand is once again fighting the odds to stay alive. Yet amazingly, it continues to engender heartfelt passion in drivers across the globe.
Alfa should have probably been dead 25 times. That's why we root for it.
To get the attention of car fans, and more importantly, customers, the brand needs a new vehicle. Something bold enough to bring back the magic and brave enough to inspire the next generation.
Well, I think that a very strong historical brand like Alfa to make statements.
Alfa Romeo needs to make a splash. It needs to catch people's attention. And doing that with a minivan? No. Doing it with a sedan? No. You have to do that with a sports car or supercar.
The result is the 4C, a machine that owes its existence to 2 old friends and a 20-year-old idea. For over 100 years, Alfa Romeo has built beautifully sporty machines and nearly gone out of business doing it.
A lot of automakers have looked in the past to actually buying it because there's a lot of interest in it. It's a brand that's ripe for recreation and rebirth.
By the late 2000s, the company is once again hanging on for dear life. So the brand taps Harold Vesta to lead its latest resurrection.
Harold Vesta is the CEO of both Maserati and Alfa Romeo.
I grew up in the western part of Germany, close to Bonn. My father was an architect, and I could have become an architect too, and I tried. At the end, I decided to, for my passion, dedicate totally to engineering.
Vesta's love for engineering eventually lands him the plum position as Director of Development at Ferrari, where he helps create the Enzo. It is perhaps the most notable hypercar of its day.
This is a German, very rational man who's charged with taking this brand that exists for rational reasons and putting it back on the map.
It's no small feat to bring one of the oldest Italian marques back. So, Vesta turns to longtime collaborator Lorenzo Ramaciotti.
Lorenzo is an old friend. Back in 1998, 1999, he was the chief designer at Pininfarina, famous design house.
Ramaciotti is one of the most influential automotive designers in the world. His work ushers in the hypercar era. Yet the faster the machines go, the more he longs to create something else.
When you have 1,000 horsepower, how can you handle them? If you're not a professional driver, it's almost impossible.
Ramaciotti's recurring dream is a back-to-basics, lightweight sports car based on supercar tech with a sedan-like €50,000 price tag.
I had the idea of doing a car that was small, light, and very fun to drive.
Our common dream was to create a Ferrari Enzo at an affordable price.
It takes over 20 years before the technology is cost-effective enough to use and an idle Saturday morning conversation to bring it to life.
I think it was back in 2010. We had one of the typical Saturday morning work meetings and discussions.
Well, the first C was born like a toy project. The idea was to build a car that was still affordable while being very, very extreme.
To realize their affordable fantasy, the pair identify 4 key targets for the new machine: a 40-60 weight distribution, an advanced powertrain, a distinct Italian design, and perhaps most challenging, a dry weight of less than 900 kilograms.
Usually, projects like this in big companies are born like submarines.
Keeping the bold idea below the radar and out of sight from company accountants falls on the shoulders of lead designer Alessandro Maccalini.
Many times when you make a production car, the box is defined. For therefore see, the briefing was different, very different.
For weeks, the stealthy group labors deep inside of the Fiat Design Center in Turin, Italy.
It's an important place because here, dream can be a real car if we are able to transform a simple dream into something more than that.
The team decides to push the affordable edge of the technological envelope and use a carbon fiber top for the new machine.
When we start from zero, the paper was white.
We had a style meeting with the CEO and we showed him these models and we said, well, let's do a concept car for the Geneva show.
It's a gamble that pays off when they meet with Sergio Marchionne, big boss of the entire Fiat empire. When the 4C is unveiled at the Geneva Auto Show, it wows both car fans and critics. Some, the very factory workers who will ultimately build the machine. Men and women whose appreciation high-performance cars helps foster a unique artisanal culture inside the factory.
So when I tell to my friend, I say, I'm an artist. It's like a painter, no? You know, this is a part of art.
When you put a Made in Italy stamp on it, there's a part of craftsmanship that goes back to the Roman times.
The pride in northern Italy transcends the products. What they do in this region speaks to something much greater.
The Alfa Romeo say a few things about Italy. We are little, we are smart, we are fast, and especially we are beautiful.
It is sort of an ambassador to the world. So it is a bit of national pride, but it's also the brand itself.
It gives me immense satisfaction. I'm proud of the work we do every day and to be part of a company that is so important to my country.
The massive nationalistic pride and tremendous response to the concept car compels Alfa Romeo to put the 4C into production.
After we showed the car in Geneva, the comments were so positive that we immediately decided to take the car to production.
Just one small problem. Alfa has no idea they can actually build the car.
When you make concept, maybe you don't care about something necessary for the production car. It was an incredible challenge for the team because it was not only a problem of design, it was a problem of technology.
Part of the challenge is born from fiscal responsibility. To keep the finished machine affordable, the team needs to stay within their budget.
When you transform a concept car in a production car, you have to mix the different ingredients. You cannot expand a lot for a big power engine. It was an incredible challenge with a carbon fiber chassis inside the car.
Until now, carbon fiber monocoques only existed in ultra-exotic and expensive sports cars. Using one in a machine that intended to be affordable soaks up most of the budget. But it also shaves weight, and weight is the enemy of high performance.
We are absolutely obsessed about weight reduction. We are constantly on a diet.
To keep the machine svelte, the team forgoes a luxury interior, heavy sound-deadening material, and even a traditional glove box.
So in every part of the car, it was important to reduce, to remove kilogram or gram, to respect this data fixed from beginning.
When they're finally below the 900 kilogram target, it's time to face next major challenge: wind.
For me, very important is because wind of tunnel is the moment where you check your work.
To conquer what you can't see, the team takes the prototype to the Fiat Research and Development Center, located in Orbisano, Italy.
We are here in the Aerodynamic and Acoustic Montana.
Built in 1975, the massive wind tunnel has continually been updated to stay at the forefront of aerodynamics.
Imagine you have a turbine which generates a stream of wind up to speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour.
At top speed, the tunnel uses 2 megawatts of electricity. It's enough energy to power over 1,300 average homes. Amazingly, they need all that power to identify mere millimeters of potential alterations.
We discuss about 3 or 4 millimeters. Sometimes millimeters can change completely the performance in terms of lift and drag.
Drag is the amount of air resistance an object faces while in motion. The lower it gets, the more fuel-efficient a machine becomes, and the faster it can go.
With string people, typically is a very bloody discussion because they like a lot this kind of body shape, but we don't.
Aerodynamicists try to find an optimal balance between the design department's sexy shape and the engineering team's technical requirements.
So we try a compromise with them, from styling people from one side and from aerodynamic people from the other one, particularly on the rear side. At the beginning, I remember they do like completely around shape, but it's not aerodynamic. So we managed together with them the correct curve.
The team turns their collective attention to tuning the rear spoiler.
And you can see here one point, very important for the drag for lift 2, is the tuning of this side, the rear back.
If you start to put wings on your cars, you haven't spent enough hours in the wind tunnel.
Getting the height of the spoiler right is a critical step to ensure the car stays on the ground at high speed.
We are looking for downforce, which gives you a totally stable driving and handling all at high speeds. It's the magic hand which pushes the car on the road.
Downforce keeps the car on the ground, but it's the multi-generational workforce that helps keep Alfa planted.
Many of the people, they are in the third or the fourth generation working for Alfa Romeo.
Giuseppe is an artist, as one of our most experienced workers. 14 years in Alfa Romeo, and also he drives an old Alfa Romeo. So your son works in Alfa Romeo, right? In Cassino. All the family work in Alfa Romeo.
Lavoro in Alfa Romeo da 38 anni e sono orgoglioso di far parte.
I work at Alfa Romeo for 38 years, and I am proud to be part of this company, Alfa, that is an historic brand for Italy.
People that come here for work, first love the car, second love mechanics. When they stay home, they work about their car. They have all Alfa Romeo car, especially the old Alfa Romeo, tuning and fixing anytime they try to tuning the Alfa Romeo at home.
They really do believe in the product and the brand. I don't think they even have to tell them where the company logo is. They would do it gladly because they love these companies.
Pride and honor echo the affection for the machine. But building a new supercar is often a risky proposition. The future for both the brand and its workers is on the line.
So when you bring into production a concept car is always a fantastic bet.
If the bet pays off, the passion for Alfa Romeo will reignite. If it fails, one of the most storied car companies will crash and burn for good. And the deciding factor could be as simple as carbon. For over 50 years, Ferrari and Lamborghini have battled for Italian supercar supremacy on the world stage. One is a mecca for Formula One, the other is known for extreme machines. What they both share is a liberal use of carbon fiber.
It's really at the top edge of the technology. It's something you can find in an Indy car or in a Formula One race car.
Now, Alfa Romeo, the third oldest Italian automaker, is hinging its latest renaissance on the very same elemental technology.
It absolutely is a automotive trickle-down. You know, Ferrari has been developing carbon fiber for a long time, but those cars start at $250,000.
Sure, today, carbon fiber is a material that gives you the highest strength related to the weight. It's used in aircraft, it's used in racing car. It's almost indestructible.
Even though the cost of carbon fiber has come down, using it as a structural component in a modern sports car is still a very time-consuming process.
Making a carbon fiber tub is very complicated because it's done by hand.
Carbon fiber could be the material in the future. Right now, it's a very labor-intensive process.
To manufacture the 4C's carbon fiber chassis, Alfa turns to the Adler Group in southern Italy, where the state-of-the-art tub begins as a pile of 40 carbon fiber sheets.
It starts with fabric. You can imagine like braiding, no? Like your grandmother does at home. It's a little bit more high-tech, but at the end of it is like this. And then you cut parts and pieces of it.
Craftspeople trim predefined patterns using an air cutting table. The rough pieces are then hand-glued onto a mold using a resin that's vacuum sealed into place. Next, the entire tub is put into an autoclave, which is essentially a large oven, and baked for over 4 hours to set the glue.
At the end of the day, it's coming out of the oven. It looks like one piece, but it consists of many, many layers of carbon fiber.
The finished hub weighs just 65 kilograms.
Carbon fiber is a really interesting material. The reason why you see it only in really expensive cars is because they spend a lot of time making sure it's as lightweight as it can be, but also as strong as it can be. The fact that you can get it in a car that costs less than 100 grand is nothing short of a miracle.
Workers check the tub for defects or shipping it to Fiat's Modena facility, where they start to assemble the body by hand.
People have sort of an image of what Italian factory ought to be like, based on maybe old movies or old stereotypes. These days, you can't really turn out a poor quality product anymore. So an Italian factory really isn't that different than any other automotive factory around the world.
So the line of this car, you will not see robots. This is all handmade. That's also one thing that makes it special.
Freshly made carbon fiber tubs enter the facility Station 1 on the body in white line. Here, 16 craftspeople will build up the exterior using a mixture of materials.
We assemble carbon fiber, aluminium and plastic. SMC is a special sort of plastic and composite.
SMC, or sheet molding compound, is a kind of fiberglass that's 20% lighter than aluminium.
We use this material for the NASA, the space shuttle.
They sink the tub onto a reference pallet, which ensures dimensional accuracy throughout the build.
In this area, the front frame with the monocoque and the back frame with the carbon fiber monocoque.
The crash structures are the first of over 136 parts needed to build a body. Each one is installed by an artisanal craftsperson with years of experience.
I'm almost 60. I did all the manufacturing to produce the vehicle, starting with the welding first. Everything was manual. Now, things are different.
Instead of using traditional welding methods, the assembly team uses an advanced polymeric glue that sets in just 7 minutes. At Station 2, they installed a side skirt, roll bar, and bulkhead.
You can see the first process was the rocker, which was glued to. Now people are putting on the doors on the hinges. We fine-tune all the gaps and steps until we have the perfect quality.
Next comes windscreen frame and roof. Finally, the doors are added. At this stage, most of the large pieces have been set in place. But when you're building a sports car with supercar technology, it's the little details that matter.
It's absolutely at the stage because the car have to go up for the painting. So if you make wrong something here, the car arrive with a wrong profile. We control the profile thanks this. So the profile have to reset 0.5 millimeter. So our workers is able to control all profile with this machine. If they control that is 2 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter, they can move, they're able to move and respect the perfect profile.
It's a very manual way of building a body that adds a touch of individuality to each machine.
I remember once I visited a famous shop who produces violins. They look all the same, seem to be the same wood is used, but each and every is unique, and it's true also this car.
The amount of handwork required to build the body is extremely time-consuming. Each day, we produce just 18 units.
This is not a process that you can really make industrial in a big way.
It's hand-built, it's hand-done, and that limits the amount of cars that Alfa Romeo can build. They just don't have the capacity to build more.
At Station 9, craftspeople inspect car by rubbing on an alcohol-based contrast fluid. This helps highlight any defects, blemishes.
This is the final station of the body white of the Alfa 4C. So in this station, we control the profile. We control if all the assembly is okay. We wash with a special additive, and now the car is ready for the painting.
Every day, at a random interval, the team selects one very special body to go through an additional step. Inside of the metrology lab, they digitally scan over 400 verification points to double-check that the panels fit perfectly. After a stamp of approval, sub-assembled bodies are then sent off-site for a splash color. Once again, the 4C's quest for lightness makes things just a little bit more difficult than the average car.
This is plastic, so it can't be painted in a traditional painting facility for high-volume cars. This car is painted like a specialty car. They're painted one by one in a specific facility outside the plant.
Great paint starts with great prep. 11 team members spend 3 hours using over 200 meters of tape to mask the bare carbon fiber.
To paint the body for the Alfa Romeo 4C, we need about 8 kilograms of paint for the base coat and about 8 kilograms for the transparent gloss, which means about 16 kilograms of paint for each body painted.
The operators spend 20 minutes applying the first coat. Then it's time for a pair of robots to get in on the action. They take just 11 minutes to paint the remaining 85% of the car. Finally, after more than 40 hours of manual labor spread over 6 full days, a body is ready to return to Modena and enter the final assembly line, where over 200 craftspeople will bring a 4C to life and hopefully rejuvenate one of the icons of Italian motoring. Alfa Romeo is one of Italy's oldest car companies, and perhaps it's most revered inside of Fiat's Modena factory.
Io sono italiano, so che Alfa.
I am Italian. I know that Alfa is part of the history of our nation. I work on a very ambitious project, both for the brand and for the country, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Contento di far parte di tutto ciò.
When I think of Alfa Romeo, I think about the race. I think about fast car. I think about the red that go wait on the street.
The brand's latest reboot comes down to the success of their new halo car, the 4C.
It's beautiful, it's fast, and it's unique. It's a desirable thing. It's a luxury good.
Look at that car, listen to it. It's a feat for your senses.
There's certainly a sort of a sexy appeal of having a car that's built in Italy.
This is not an ordinary car factory. This is a high-tech assembly shop. Usually the car stops for 20, 30, 40 minutes. People are executing very complex tasks.
That sexy appeal is infused at a factory where they've been handcrafting cars for over 3/4 of a century.
Producing vehicles is always something that will make you happy. Producing a car like this one, you can imagine, it is even more satisfying.
The factory's gone through a lot throughout the years, yet they've never lost their love for turning dreams into driveway realities.
parlo sempre per me, che quando vedo una 4C fuori finita, il percorso là.
Speaking for myself, when I see a 4C outside, completed the road out there, I say to myself, there is my work.
Io comperaio.
As a worker, I am so proud to have a part in completing this vehicle.
Ho contribuito a produrre questa nuova vettura.
It's taken over a week for the 4C's bare body to be painted. Yet when it returns to the line, little time is spent admiring the beauty. The first order of business is to remove all the colorful bits.
Nella prima stazione la vettura viene completamente spogliata.
At the first station, the vehicle is completely stripped in order to provide access for the installation of the components. This also protects the component from damage during assembly.
The vehicle is hoisted onto the line and turned onto its side using a C-hook.
In this special station, we have big hook that move the car in this way. So our workers can move inside the car and under the body of the car.
Craftspeople don't have to reach for parts thanks to Alfa's simplified logistics system.
We create a Dominio kit that our logistics bring directly to our workers. Our workers not have to work, but only turn, take a screwdriver and the other part of the car and make only this movement.
While a pair of workers install the oil and brake lines across the aisle, craftspeople prep the 4C 1.7-litre turbocharged engine on a sub-assembly station.
This is the area where the motors arrive, and they are connected to the other components before being installed in the vehicle.
The brand new engine mated to the 4C's paddle-driven double-clutch transmission, kitted out.
Yes, actually born in Modena, and I'm extremely proud to make Alfas here in Modena. Most of all, since Modena is the land of motors, it had to produce a supercar like the Alfa 4C.
True moto passion is put on display just a few meters down the lane. In Motor Valley, there is perhaps no more important factory location than the engine install.
Allora, qui siamo alla stazione 4G.
Here we are at Station 4, and this is where we connect the motor. Without a doubt, the station that is the most complex of the entire assembly line is the motor station, where you will see the engine being installed inside body.
In a land full of high-performance passion, this is everyone's favorite spot.
Siamo a Modena, nella terra dei motori.
As you know, we are in Modena, land of motors. We produce this vehicle here with so much passion, a vehicle that will reach every corner of the world, so we are very proud of this.
When the car moves to the next section, the dashboard arrives from its sub-assembly area.
Here we are at dashboard preparation station, a fundamental part of the vehicle. This team is primarily female, the dashboard team, because women are more meticulous, precise. Since it is a component found in the interior of the car and it makes first impression on the customer, it needs to be perfect.
Every 25 minutes, the team sends recently completed dashboards to the final line.
Okay, in this station, we prepare the part for insert the dashboard. So we tack the last cable for put the dashboard inside.
The engine makes 237 horsepower, yet it's the car's airbag that might go boom. Keeping everyone alert to the danger comes down to a very simple solution.
Inside, there are things that can explode. So we use the military box. We remember to our workers that can explode.
A cycle later, it's time to install the car's suspension. This includes the front brace, primarily made from aluminium, which helps save 2 more kilograms of weight.
Right now, I am mounting the front suspension of the 4C.
The team uses high-tech torque wrenches to ensure the mounting tolerances are exact. The 4C uses glass just 4 millimeters thick. That sheaves 15% of the weight of a normal windshield.
Posizionato il parabrezza in modo da centrarlo.
We have positioned the windshield in order to center it, to make sure it is centered on the body.
Con la spot.
Then it's time to reinstall the colorful trim pieces taken off earlier.
Qui assembliamo praticamente la maggior parte della vettura.
Here we assemble most of the vehicle. Fenders, bumpers, doors, all the finishing touches.
Parte finale.
They use a special RGV, or robot-guided vehicle, to bring the doors to the line. It's the only automated system in the factory, and the only tool with its own nickname.
We call our RGV, our robot, Emilio, because it's an automatic robot that brings the doors and other things during the assembly line.
Installing the doors requires absolute precision.
Inserting the connector is the most difficult. Inserting the connector from the door to the body, because sometimes there may be obstacles.
The car is nearly complete. I think we have another 1 or 2 stations, another hour.
When 4C rolls off the final assembly line, it looks finished. Yet its journey to a dealership has just begun. Each brand new 4C takes a 40-kilometer road test. When a freshly tested machine comes back to the factory, it heads to the finishing area.
When the vehicle comes in here, it has already gone through all of its assembly and also a road test.
The machines are reviewed by independent auditors. Then each car hits a rolling road before taking a quick shower in the water test booth.
We have at least 100 people that touch product before it leaves our doors. It's a rather complex vehicle. Even though it's small in size, it is very particular in the details. One of the challenges with this vehicle is there are exposed portions that would normally be aesthetic to other vehicles. So we have to pay close attention to these aspects of the car.
Finally, after weeks of passionate hand-built craftsmanship, a finished 4C is ready to head to customers around the world.
4C matters because this is the return of Alfa Romeo, this triumphant brand that's been around for all these years that we haven't seen in so long. And here it is. Look at it. That's why it matters. Look at it.
Some of those new machines might even find their way to America, where the brand hasn't sold cars for over 20 years.
It's a big deal to everyone who's grown hearing about those great Alfa Romeo sports cars of the past.
At its core, the 4C is a throwback to sports cars from a different era.
Classically, a sports car was a toy. It was something you drove just to have fun. It was something that existed just to be exciting.
It's very clear from the second you get in a 4C, this is not a car that's trying to be all things to all people.
Today's sports cars are way more focused on performance, on lap times and quarter-mile speeds and all this stuff. The 4C is more an old-school approach to the sport car.
This is clearly not a car that you want to drive your kids to school with because they don't fit. And if they did, they'd be miserable.
This is absolutely a less is more car. Because the less weight you have to carry around, the faster you can go, the quicker you can corner, the more nimble the car is.
Alfa's fanatical obsession with weight reduction pays off on the track. Fully fueled, the machine's wet weight is just 1,202 kilograms. That's 138 kilo lighter than a Porsche Cayman, and gives the 4C a power-to-weight ratio of 1 horsepower to every 5 kilograms.
If you think about what the definition of a supercar used to be, in the 80s, everyone had to have a Testarossa or a Countach. They were loud and uncomfortable. and the interiors weren't great, but they made beautiful noises and they were really fast and they looked amazing. This is the first time you can really reach out and grab it if you have the means.
4C charges from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.1 seconds. That's a top speed of 258 kilometers per hour.
200 and something horsepower is a lot when the car doesn't weigh a lot, and that's the point of that carbon monocoque. The car's light, doesn't need a big engine, doesn't need to be super horsepower-y to hit the speed.
Speed is only one part of the attraction. So is the machine's surprisingly gutsy sound.
Alfa just played the oldest trick in the book. It doesn't have a muffler, like none, zero.
A muffler isn't the only part of the 4C experience that's missing.
Its interior is basically stripped out from everything that it doesn't need.
Stripping out the non-essentials even includes a manual transmission.
Why no manual transmission? Alfa Romeo's official answer is they would like to have this car as closer to Formula One, which uses paddle-shifted automatic transmissions. Frankly, it's the biggest flaw on this car. This car with a naturally aspirated engine and manual transmission would be the best supercar in the world.
The lack of creature comforts is the clearest example of Alfa's unyielding desire to shave extra weight and cost from the machine.
Rationally, you can get into a 4C and say, wow, this is like a play school version of my first Ferrari.
The 4C makes the Italian exotic car approachable and attainable for a lot more people.
It's an Italian calling card, best enjoyed in the corners.
Driving this car on a mountain road will make you smile like crazy.
It has fantastic steering. It has great bucket seats that hug you in. And every time you get in it, you want to go on the twistiest, curviest road you can.
Driving 4C is easy compared to figuring out how the brand keep them affordable.
I don't know how Alfa Romeo is building this car and selling it at the price it is without losing huge amounts of money. But look, marketing costs money. You can buy billboards, you can buy TV advertisements, or you can build a car that everyone looks at, everyone wants, and you lose some money on it.
Years of fits and starts and half-baked resurrections have left the mark with minimal market share.
Alfa Romeo doesn't want to be a niche brand. They want to sell sedans here. They want to sell family cars.
The goal of the 4C is to reshape the future of Alfa Romeo.
The 4C is meant to be the halo of the brand. Hey, look, this is what Alfa Romeo is. It's sexy, it's sporty, it sounds exciting.
If you talk to car company executives, they will all say the same thing. We can only survive if we sell 8 billion cars a day. Alfa has never sold in volume.
Like an old vine stressed in producing great wine, sometimes it's the struggle that brings out the very best.
What I find most exciting about the 4C is that it exists. I mean, cars aren't made like this anymore. Something that feels like it was almost sucked past the bean counter.
For over 110 years, Alfa Romeo has fought to stay alive and to stay relevant. Their latest renaissance is the direct result of 2 men and a shared dream.
I don't think there's going to be another generation of the 4C. I think you see now is probably what you're going to get. Alfa could always surprise us and bring out a new one and improve, but I think they have bigger fish to fry.
A €50,000 fantasy whose success or failure is now up to customers around the world.
We tried to do something that was different from what you can find out there, and that was bringing this sense of uniqueness and performance to a much wider audience. The pleasure of driving is not in the 0 from 100 time, it's something more complex. The numbers are there just to be seen on a magazine, but then you have to feel, and that's easy to express with a figure. It's something that you must feel personally.